Plans for the twinning of Highway 3 in southern Alberta have been talked about for almost 50 years, and now it looks like the ball will finally get rolling. Joining us to discuss this is Bill Chapman. He is a Coaldale Town Councillor and also the president of the Highway 3 Twinning Development Association. What better person to have on than Bill? Welcome to Bridge City News, Bill. Great to have you on today.
Well, thank you for inviting me to join you for this meeting today.
Of course, absolutely. So, Bill, first, for anyone not familiar with the Highway 3 Twinning project, can you maybe give us a brief history of this 50-year discussion and what the goals of this project are?
Well, sure, Jeanette, and maybe we can go back even to the turn of the century. Corridor began or in the early 1900s and was called the Red Trail. And from 1932, it became a numbered highway following the CP rail. And of course, the Highway 3 was branded as the southern branch of the Trans-Canada Highway. So I do remember as a child in the 1960s, taking over 18 hours just to travel from Calgary to Vancouver through the Crow's Nest Pass to Vancouver, as really this was the key route for Trans-Canada travel. It was certainly a most painful trip, and of course, then you had to take the same route back home again.
Right, of course. And of course, for people who don't know, it runs from east to west, west to east, right? From Medicine Hat right through to the Crow's Nest into British Columbia, so Saskatchewan to BC, right? And of course, it's dubbed the Crow's Nest Highway, right?
That is correct, yes. And actually, in 1988, this highway became part of the national highway system. So that's really important for listeners and viewers to note that this highway is actually part of the national highway system of Canada.
Very interesting. So maybe tell us about phase one. This is from Taber to Burdett, Alberta. So you believe that there are maybe economic, recreational, and tourism benefits, as well as safety benefits, of course. So can you explain maybe what the benefits of the economy would be?
Yes, and as a growing province, we do know that every one of our communities is growing. So the impact of having this highway certainly will be the centerpiece to all of the economic activities that will occur and all the economic growth that is going to take place over the next 10 years. And of course, with the agri-food corridor growing, we're going to see a number of mega projects coming up over the next number of years that really will impact all sorts of service levels in Alberta. And of course, Highway 3 will become the cornerstone to all of these needs in southern Alberta.
That's so interesting. I believe the highway will be rerouted around the various towns along the route, right? So, which, it speeds things up for drivers, which is great. But are you getting any pushback from businesses on businesses that might possibly miss out on potential drive-through business?
I don't think so. I would like to speak for the town of Coaldale, and of course, back in the 50s, the Ministry of Transportation talked about routing highways or major highways around municipalities, mainly for economic and safety reasons, economic or safety and efficiency reasons.
Yeah, 100%.
So that was important to note because Coaldale went through those conversations back in the 50s and again in the 1970s when they actually went to work to twin the highway around Coaldale. And if you remember, the old Highway 3 did go right through downtown Coaldale. And so if you were going to look at today's traffic, not only in numbers, but also in regards to the type of traffic that's occurring on Highway 3, downtown Coaldale would not be able to accommodate the amount and the size of traffic that's going through our community today. So if you look at history and then go to what we've encountered today that the town of Coaldale has already been bypassed once. That being said, our community has grown 4 times that number since the 1970s. We're a community of over 9,000 population today. So if we translate that theory to other municipalities across our corridor, I don't doubt that there'll be any concerns about bypassing. I know that chambers of commerce are on side with Highway 3 twinning. They believe that this will be a major source of economic boost to the community in terms of not only travelers, but also economic benefit to the communities. And we know that people still need to come to town for groceries, for parts, for gas, for sports, for school, for church.
Yeah, you name it.
It will, people will still come to town.
Yeah. When I think of the Highway 3 twinning project, of course, the main thing that comes to mind is safety. So, I mean, this could potentially cut down on a lot of accidents and fatalities that we hear about quite a bit. So, what do the statistics tell us about improving the safety with the twinning of Highway 3?
That's a really good question, and we know that to bring out statistics on fatalities or collisions, all those sorts of things, my opinion is that one fatality is one
Too many.
one statistic too many. And
100%.
we need to identify the fact that twinning Highway 3 will be important to everyone for not only for safety, but for comfort. We know that the mix of big trucks and automobiles does not work anymore. And of course, people need to be able to travel in comfort and not be feared about having to travel from Lethbridge to Medicine Hat or Medicine Hat to the Crow's Nest or wherever, so it's important that we have this down and downright.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's a nice big twinned area all through Lethbridge, but as soon as you get outside of those city limits, that's where you start getting into that two-way traffic, and it can get very, very scary in some of those areas, especially once you start getting into the pass and the mountains there. So this is very welcome for sure. What do you see, Bill, as the potential recreational and tourism benefits for this?
Well, the number one reason why people travel anywhere is for an experience. They want to experience what we have to offer here in southern Alberta. And of course, some people like to go to Waterton to experience the mountains, the hiking. Lots of people want to experience our trails. Lots of people want to experience our water reservoirs along here. So people will look on a map, and TripAdvisor happens to be the number one source for people's not only destination but their experience. And with those experiences, they look for the best routed highways that are the safest, that are identified on a map as a major route, so major highway. So this all works together, and it'll be fantastic to see the spin-offs from recreation, from tourism, from all those things that matter down here in the south.
Yeah, yeah. Now, speaking of tourism, of course, one of the main draws along that corridor is the Frank Slide Historical Site. But my understanding is that there's been some controversy over this project happening there because people are kind of worried about the potential impact that it could have on that historical site. And then, of course, the entire town is buried there along with the bodies of those that were killed in that tragic rock slide way back 100-some years ago. So there are some worries to that small community in that area, so that also that they could be cut off from drive-by potential business and tourism. So any thoughts on that?
Sure, we understand, and we appreciate, and we certainly respect the overall sensitivity and historical impact that this slide particularly has had on the overall community. And of course, now that that there's a historical destination to it, and of course all the other historical destinations, including the mines.
Yeah.
You can name a number of tourism destination components to that people are really appreciating today,
Yeah.
with regards to not only just the Frank Slide itself, but also the uh, the other activities that take place there, and of course. People go there as part of cottage country now, and of course, people go skiing. People go uh, uh, to for watercraft. People, just want to enjoy a different element of our Canadian geography. So. Uh, Highway 3 leads everyone through the Crow's Nest Pass, and of course, we understand too that the need for rerouting some of the big heavy traffic off of the downtown is really important, and Alberta Transportation has identified that very, very clearly, and have offered a number of alignment options for consideration. And of course, the one dilemma that we do have is the fact that the CP Rail has precedence over their route for through their route through the Crow's Nest Pass, and so that kind of confines our options in terms of alignment.
Okay. Bill, do we know when phase one will be completed and what are the estimated costs for that?
From what we understand is it'll take about 3 years to completion. So if we start in 2024, we can expect possibly that section or that phase of Highway 3 to be open and ready in the next 3 years. That the cost from Tabor to Burdett is predicted to cost $180 million.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. What kind of feedback are you getting on the twinning project from stakeholders like truckers and the ag sector, et cetera? We talked about businesses a little bit there.
Well, as we know, all our chambers of commerce all along Highway 3 are now reciprocal members of our association, and they are in full support of this project. That means a lot, not only to our chambers, but to all the stakeholders along Highway 3. And of course, we have a number of stakeholders who sit on our board as well, and have been advocating very strongly about their need to move goods and services along Highway 3. So we have a number of transport companies. We have some building companies on our board. We have the sugar beet growers. We have the potato growers of Alberta on our board. So we have a number of stakeholders who are very excited about the prospects of twinning Highway 3.
Okay. Well, we're almost out of time here, but really quickly, so we know phase one is beginning in 2024. It'll take 3 years. How many phases are there in total, and how long will the whole project take? And when will the next phase begin, phase two?
Uh, uh, yes, so there's a total of 8 phases, and so the government is proudly proclaiming a 10-year window for completing these phases. Some of that will be doable, and of course we know that some of the engineering can take place simultaneously. So some of these phases can go in sequence, or not just in A, B, C, D, and E order. We can certainly see some engineering, some stuff happening simultaneously.
Okay. Well, good to know. So we'll look forward to a lot of construction in the future, basically.
Yes, and of course, the way we understand it too is that there won't be any closures to trans-province traffic.
And then, Bill, just before we go here, are there any final thoughts on this the Highway 3 twinning project?
Absolutely, we want to ensure that that our association is still on board with ensuring that several components to the project be done and done right. Number one would being, of course, rest stops. Number two, being animal crossings. And number three is really what we want to ensure is that there are an adequate number of entrances into our communities where the highway might be bypassed. So those are serious considerations and concerns from the municipalities that have been concerned about bypassing the community. So that is the one thing. The number two thing that we want to ensure is for federal support, and that is that this highway is really part of the Canadian national highway system. So we want to ensure that the federal government understands and knows that they as partners become a component of this twinning system. So Destination Canada has already identified Highway 3 in their tourism. In their national tourism strategy, and so we're pleased with that. But again, it's those components that really make this project worthwhile.
And it looks like we're out of time, but Bill, thanks so much for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bill Chapman is the president of the Highway 3 Twinning Development Association. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks so much for watching.